take that I get is not only is still Putin amazingly popular in Russia right now.
Pretty popular. Like, initial goal was we want to roll an army as quickly as possible into Kyiv. We want to.
When you say the United States, hey, what do you want to happen in Ukraine? I think there's actually two answers to this. I know it's as simple as one. 0 ways for Russia to walk back from this. There is no path.
No,
like,
but that's the way out.
That is not a good answer here. Okay.
No, that's it. Dan,
I think that if you offer nothing to Russia to leave at this point, why would they leave? Like, who gives a shit?
Well, now because it's
Jesus. Man, there's so much to cover here. So much to cover.
Okay, let's go.
We're rapid fire. What are the topics that we've missed in the last 2 weeks? Anything Russia that we want to go over in general, you think? Any thoughts
I've spent more time reading about it, researching this topic than probably any other topic, I think. I'm finally like starting to embrace the history a little bit. I'm learning a little bit of it, so.
Yeah, it's interesting, the whole stuff. I mean, because obviously I have like I guess, not me personally, because I'm fair and biased, but not biased, fair and unbiased. But however, I do come from a biased household. Sure. And the take that I get is not only is still Putin amazingly popular in Russia right now.
Pretty popular, yeah.
Like fucking Biden would cream himself to be half as popular. Well, maybe not half. I don't know, 2/3. Like, this guy is fucking killing it. There's a real belief that, like, you know, and I guess to a certain extent it's propaganda, that like Ukraine's a bad place, that these are like bad dudes and everything like that. But you know, the thing that I read that makes the most sense to me is, you know, I kind of believe this, and this is so fucked to say. I believe the reason that the war is going so bad for Putin is because he actually is trying probably not to have a fuck ton of civilian deaths.
Initially, but he gave that up. They have shifted strategies. That is not the case anymore.
I don't know.
It's starting to. Not hardcore, but it's absolutely starting to. They are choking off. There's like 3 or 4 different cities now, Mariupol being the one that's talked about the most, that are being like choked off, shelled, and just destroyed.
It's not like a traditional war, right? It's like an occupy versus like a, you know, if this was a war, obviously it would be a little bit different, but they had very stated goals. They want to come in there, remove the government, and install a new government.
Yes,
they don't
but I think the initial goal was we want to roll an army as quickly as possible into Kyiv. We want to depose the leadership, install a new government, and leave. But now it's become way more protracted. It's getting a little bit more traditional. And now we're starting to see some classic, like, Putin war strategy, like what was utilized in Syria and in Grozny, are coming out now, to where, okay, well, time to terrorize the fuck out of the civilians, because it didn't seem like we could accomplish our objectives the other way. That's what we're starting to see. And there's a lot of reporting on it and everything too. Like, you've got these cities that are cut off from like all water, food, no humanitarian aid can get in or out. The roads are torn up, coming in and out. You've got videos of hospitals, a theater that just got destroyed with like a ton of children in it. Like, it's getting pretty fucked. Yeah.
You know one thing I don't understand, and maybe, I don't know, obviously a lot of people are smarter than me when it comes to this stuff. I would think if you're there's two outcomes here, I think, for someone like the United States. What do you want? When you say the United States, hey, what do you want to happen in Ukraine? I think there's actually two answers to this. I know it's as simple as one. I think option one is we want Russia to leave and for the Ukrainians to have peace. That is our priority. That's number one. I don't believe that's the case for the United States. I think the actual answer, if you're in the United States, the answer is, who gives a fuck about Ukraine? We're using this as the perfect excuse to fucking destroy Russia and turn them into the next North Korea. I think that's actually the real goal at this point. And the reason that I'm saying that is because they're giving absolutely 0 ways for Russia to walk back from this. There is no path.
No,
like,
but
hey,
that's
listen,
no, hold
Russia
on. It's exactly the opposite. The problem is Russia gave itself no ways to walk back from this. I wish I would have been more well-read on this.
Then we have to.
No. The thing is that Russia was continually aggravating Ukraine, continually mobilizing troops, threatening to pull like gas, threatening to do all these things. They were doing it over and over and over and over again, and it basically built up to where Russia, they had to invade. There was actually no other choice. There's a guy that wrote a really long piece that was interesting. But because of everything that Russia had done, and because everything Ukraine had done, there was no choice but Russia to invade at this point, or else Russia would lose all credibility on the world stage, because they'd postured over it so fucking hard. So Russia backed itself into a corner. In terms of the United States and Europe, I don't think we want, like, this might sound kind of naive.
Yo, Des, sorry, brother.
Hold on.
I'm down bad.
I took a $5,000 bribe from Dan to tell Bing I'd beat his ass if he doesn't stop playing League with you. That's a 3-bet feral.
Okay. It might sound a little bit naive, but it's just because of how everything is oriented itself. I think that right now what America wants is for Ukraine to be free and peaceful and prosperous, because it aligns really well with the general state of security across Europe and with the general state of the economy across the world. I think that generally is what the United States. We don't want to fight with Russia because all of our allies in Europe don't want to fight with Russia. It was like pulling teeth to get them to agree to the SWIFT ban, and we couldn't even get them to fully agree to wait, have we gotten to the point where we're saying we're not going to import? I'm going to say we, like Germany, France, all these countries are not going to buy Russian oil anymore, because that's painful as fuck for Europe as well. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that type of conflict. Yeah.
I understand all that stuff, but I felt like if this was more of a priority.
Hold on, I have to mute all my donates because people want to donate like 12 fucking sentences now for some reason. Okay, then they don't donate. It's only when somebody is talking that they want to come in and donate. Okay, go.
I felt like if there was tremendous desire to actually have this happen, like, listen, we have to stabilize Ukraine and get Putin out. I feel like we would be hearing a lot about, okay, listen, Russia did this. They fucked up. They fucked up hard. But listen, here's how we can walk it back, okay? Like, listen, Putin, all that you can rejoin SWIFT, you can have all these sanctions leave, all these types of things. This is what you have to do. I don't feel like, at least I've heard anyone discussing what is the way out for Putin. And if that's the case, if you feel like there is no way out,
but I mean, like, he put himself here. What is supposed to be the way out?
That is not a good answer here. Okay.
No, Dan, he already annexed part of Ukraine. He already stole Crimea illegally and has been occupying it for like 8 years. Like, what's the way out?
Hold on. You're not listening to me right here. Okay. If you're telling him, hey, guess what, Putin? Nothing you fucking do. If you leave Ukraine, we don't give a shit. If you stay in Ukraine, I mean, we care. But guess what? If you leave Ukraine right now and give them peace, yeah, nothing's going to change. We're still going to keep the sanctions.
Well, no, the sanctions will obviously roll back.
No, that is not a case that's.
No. If he would leave completely, we would more than be willing to go to the negotiating table with him. But that's not what he wants. He probably wants to recognize the two Donbass areas, Donetsk and Luhansk. I fucked the pronunciations. He wants those to be breakaway states. Okay. Just like in Georgia, just like in Moldova, he wants those to be separate territories for Ukraine to lose it, and he wants to keep Crimea. And then he's going to want a future negotiation where Ukraine will never join NATO, and then he's going to want all NATO troops that have been put in any part of Eastern Europe to be rolled back as well. Those are Putin's demands. But the problem is, But the problem is that, Dan, imagine if I go into your house and I murder one of your kids, and then I rape your wife, and then I hold a gun to your head. I'm like, Dan, will you please negotiate with me? And you're like, yeah, okay, well, this is a really good idea. Like, I'm going to negotiate with you now because, like, that's obviously what we need to do next. Like, that's fucked up. Like, what the fuck? Like, Russia has been unbelievably antagonistic and aggressive. You can't just, like, let them be like, okay, well, yeah, now we're going to make a bunch of concessions, because that's what Russia's goal is. That's insane.
No, I agree that it's fucked, but I think that if you offer nothing to Russia to leave at this point, why would they leave? Like, who gives a shit?
Well, now because it's about breaking them down. They've already made this an all or nothing ordeal. Like, there is nothing we can offer them that is going to be acceptable to us. We're not going to roll back all of our forces from NATO when these countries are now worried because Russia has annexed part of fucking Ukraine. We're not going to say to some country that, okay, yeah, we're going to let you decide, not NATO members who are supposed to decide, and not other sovereign states. We're going to let Russia decide who's allowed to join.
Yes, listen, hold on a second. I have to address people in fucking chat that, listen, there is no guarantee that if Russia left today, that sanctions would be rolled back. And you're naive if you think that's the fucking case.
I think they would be.
You have nothing to base that on. There's people saying they want to bring Putin in front of the fucking tribunal court, like, for war crimes and things like that.
They would have done it during the Chechen conflicts if that was the case. But Putin will never answer for any war crime shit like that. That'll never happen. And you know what? Honest to God, the rest of the world wouldn't want it to happen. There's a reason why countries like China and Russia sit on the Security Council. We don't want to be involved in shit like that because we know that it would destabilize the fuck out of, like, all of Europe. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know why people are saying I'm a fucking tanky. I'm just arguing for the fact that I think if you want someone to do something, there has to be, like, right now, it seems to me like there's very little incentive. And you guys are like, oh, no, the sanctions will go. I'm not sure that's the case. They fucking invaded a country. Maybe it's like, listen, maybe, now you got to give Crimea back. And actually, we want this, that, and the other thing as well on top of it. I don't think that's the case.
He's going to want to recognize the two breakaway states as independent territories that Russian peacekeepers can stay in indefinitely. He's already done this in Transnistria, in Moldova. He's done this in South Ossetia and Ashgabat. I don't know how to fucking pronounce these places. And Georgia. Georgia. Like, this is like the Russian strategy 101. He's going to want the exact same thing for Ukraine. He's going to want to hold on to Crimea, and he's going to want NATO to be rolled back significantly. But why would you make all of those concessions to somebody that is being a fucking terrorist? Why would you do that?
No, I'm not disagreeing. I think the whole situation is fucked. I just, yeah, it's quite the doozy, as they say in the biz right now, you know?
Abkhazia is what it's called. Sorry, Abkhazia. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, it is a doozy. There is a way for him out, but like it's all his misery is self-imposed right now. Like it's all like what he's done to himself. So
yeah, it's you know, but hey, listen, they got Uncle Vanya's out of it, so it's not that bad.
Wait, they got what?
You know,
what do you mean?
You don't know about Uncle Vanya?
No.
Where are my Ruskies at in chat?
I don't think you're allowed to say that anyway.
They're renaming McDonald's to Uncle Vanya's. And keeping like turning the M into a B. So it's